today's child will face a brave new world where nothing is quite as it is now. A profoundly different world, one of innovation, imagination, and seamless connectivity beyond past means. But we are building tomorrow. Huobi, powered by a unique blockchain ecosystem. Since 2013, we've been making strides towards tomorrow's next big leap, building a future where cash is cashless, transactions are frictionless, and a better way to trade is open to all. Our blockchain innovations will forge a brave new world that's faster, more stable, secure, and decentralized. We've combined an industry-leading platform with world-class services, building a trusted gateway to cryptocurrency, with the goal of helping over 100 million families worldwide. For the children born today, we're building a smarter tomorrow. Huobi, the future of finance.
I'd like to thank the Huobi Group.
Huobi 已经8岁了。
I'd like to congratulate Huobi on its 8th anniversary.
Wish Huobi happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary for Huobi.
火币这些年一直是区块链领域的全球的领军者。
Thanks to the Huobi Group.
I would like to say happy anniversary for Huobi.
I want to thank Huobi.
Thank Huobi for first and foremost.
Huobi Group 8周年誠におめでとうございます。
Huobi Korea.
Huobi.
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 Huobi. Huobi.
Huobi.
Huobi.
May the Huobi Summit be successful.
Thank you for choosing Huobi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our panel 2022. Where should we focus on in the blockchain industry? Hosted by FX168 and Huobi Research. My name is Wei, and I'll be your host today. The latest annual report, Global Crypto Industry Overview and Trends, was jointly published by Huobi Research Institute and the Singapore Blockchain Association, supported by Huobi Technology and Huobi Singapore. The report provides a comprehensive and deep analysis. It also sorts out the development of the crypto industry in the past year from 4 aspects: finance, market, technology, and policy. And also it summarizes 10 important events in the industry in 2021, and also gives predictions for the trend of the industry development in 2022. Huobi Research was established in April of 2016 and has been committed to comprehensively expanding research and exploration in various fields of blockchain since March 2018. The research aims to accelerate the research and development of blockchain technology, promote the application of the blockchain industry, and promote the ecological optimization of the blockchain industry. Its research contents include the industry trend, technology path, application innovation, and mode exploration in the blockchain field. And today, FX168 and Huobi Institute are honored to have our honored guests on our panel today to speak about crypto's immense growth in 2021 and what is in store for crypto and NFTs as well in 2022 and beyond. Please welcome Flora Li, Director of Huobi Research, Chia Hock Lai, Co-Chairman of Singapore Blockchain Association, and Esme Pau. She's a Senior Investment Analyst. And let's have each of our guests have a brief introduction about themselves, starting with Flora.
Hello, everyone. I'm Flora, and I'm the Director of Huobi Research. Before I worked in Huobi, I used to work in Bank of China and China Life Investments with several years work experience in fintech. And I was entered Huobi in 2018. And from that, I was dedicated in crypto research since then. And now I was also a committee member of China Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics activity group on blockchain. And also I was one of the founding members of BGIN, which is short for Blockchain Governance Initiation Network. And besides, I was also served as the Deputy Secretary General of BSN, which is short for Blockchain-Based Service Network Development Association, since 2020. And beside myself, I would like to introduce Huobi to all of you. And Huobi is one of the leading crypto exchange around the world. It's founded in 2013 and is one of the oldest crypto exchange. And Huobi Research is the institute we focus on blockchain and crypto. And we will very like to share our insights with everyone who like to know more about this industry. And we hope Huobi Research could be your first choice if you want to know this magic crypto world. Yes, thank you. And today, I think it's a very great honor to discuss about the crypto markets with all of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. Next, we have Chia Hock Lai. Do you mind telling us a few sentences about yourself?
Thanks, Wei Jiang. Okay, my name is Hock Lai. I'm the co-chairman for the Blockchain Association Singapore and also a senior advisor to Tembusu Partners, a venture capital firm in Singapore. I was the former and founding president for the Singapore FinTech Association. So I've been quite active in both the FinTech and the blockchain ecosystem for the last 5 years. Very happy to partner with Huobi in this particular research report. Looking forward to discuss more with the fellow expert panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Hock Lai. Next, we have Esme Pau.
Hi, everybody. It's an honor to be here, and it's a pleasure to share my views with the esteemed panelists. And thanks very much, Wei, for the strong introduction. So I have a decade of experience at leading investment banks and consultancies, in which I advise global funds in terms of capital allocation and investment opportunities in technology and innovation. And also, I'm a supporter of a philanthropic project in which I lead the development of authoritative and institutional grade insights, and that is to accelerate the adoption of digital assets. And in terms of my, so I have a decade of experience in traditional asset classes, but then since 2016, I've been exposed to digital assets, and I see my objective as to bridge the chasm between traditional finance and also digital asset opportunity. So I stay as close to the ecosystem as possible. At the same time, I represent the institutional side in terms of our perspectives. I'll stop here.
Thank you, Esme. As everyone knows here, in 2021, both the stock market and cryptocurrencies reached new highs and rallied heavily in the latter part of the year. However, as 2022 came along, questions of the U.S. Federal Reserve raising interest rates has sent both the stock market and crypto market back down in the correction. So my question is, what effect do you guys think the U.S. Federal Reserve raising interest rates will have on the crypto market overall? Let's start with Flora as the leading author of the crypto annual report. What do you think? What do you think the federal rates have effect on the crypto market?
Okay, thank you for your question. To answer this question first, I would like to show a history picture where the last crypto winter comes in 2018, when the Bitcoin fell from nearly 20,000 to below 3,000 and stay around about 4,000 for more than 1 year. And this happened to be in the critical period of the Fed's last round of interest rate hikes. It may be a coincidence, but it may be not, because in 2018, crypto world is such a small and more independent market and is easily to be manipulated. But now, more and more traditional giant financing institutions and investors are involved, and the market is about three or four times larger than 4 years ago. The connection between the crypto market and the mainstream finance market is stronger. And so we need to pay more attention to the global economy, especially America, and the negative impact of this round of Fed's rate hikes. the risk of the interest rate is absolutely a cut down in liquidity, which would distress the price of all kinds of risky assets, including Bitcoin and other crypto assets. As a result, under the influence of the market expectation, highly risky assets will be incapable of appreciating, and the possibility of market depreciation cannot be eliminated. Besides the raising interest rate, the influence of tapering, I think, is more directly. In the latest SEC meetings, the time window for the taper is shorter and the tapering is sped up. Although it does not inherently change the direction of liquidity, but is likely to alter the direction of fund flow or the degrees of mismatching assets. Highly risky assets like Bitcoin are theoretically more sensitive to change in dollar liquidity. So inclusion this year, 2022, will come into the bear market with a high possibility, with a short of liquidity. So maybe let's prepare for the winter comes.
Thank you, Flora. Hock Lai, do you have anything to add to that? Flora thinks that there will be a bear market coming for crypto 2022. How do you feel?
I think Flora explained it beautifully. Just to supplement a few points that typically when we are in an increasing interest rate environment, it will affect the tech sector more, because typically for tech companies, they rely a lot on cheap loans to expand their market, because typically tech companies, they are not profitable, especially during the first few years. So typically a rising interest rate will affect them more. Again, like Flora said, that it's not just about rising interest rate, but also a contraction of the liquidity in the market through the tapering, again, reducing the fund flows into both the traditional asset market and also to the digital asset market. And the other point, which you can find that table in the report, that the report shows because currently only Coinbase is listed in US, and they publish their financial reports regularly. And if you look at their report, right, the amount of the institutional investors in Coinbase, right, has actually increased by 8.7 times over the last 1 year compared to retail investors. So you can see that now with more institutional investors in the digital assets market, then naturally the digital assets like Bitcoin will be more tethered to how the traditional market flows. So in general, and we have already seen year to date, right, Nasdaq is down, I think about 12 to 14%. Yeah. Bitcoin is down like close to 25%. So I think it will continue, at least until my expectation is that it will go until like Q3. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Hock Lai. That was very insightful. Esme, using your investment bank experience, how do you feel about what Flora and Hock Lai has said?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that's $1 billion question, the $1 trillion market cap, cryptocurrency market cap. I think in terms of the knee-jerk reaction, so the market is holding on to the major caveat in the capital markets, which is the FOMC decision. And given that interest rates go up, as Hock Lai rightly said, so risky asset classes are going to trend down. And then we're also seeing increasing correlation between digital assets and also traditional asset classes like tech stocks. So I want to highlight how investors should position themselves going forward. So given that we're going to see a convergence between the crypto and traditional economies, so we're going to see risk premiums and also correlation with traditional asset classes align, and also to see risk-adjusted returns to gradually trend down in the longer term. And that will prompt a lot of investors to change the way they price risk in the digital asset market. So having said that, I think it's very important for investors to recalibrate their trading strategies. And previously, if we look at 5 years ago, so Bitcoin dominance was at 90%. Now it's at only 40%. And investors should not only expose themselves to passive investments, but also to increasingly diversify into different cryptocurrencies, and also to have different trading strategies, because the simple way of plain vanilla buying into Bitcoin is no longer going to give you the returns that you're going to see in the past few years.
Thank you, Esme. That was very insightful. So as crypto continues to mature and disrupt traditional industries, more and more countries are exploring digital money, or CBDCs, digital dollars. In 2022, the People's Bank of China will be expanding their trial of the yuan. Central banks from countries such as Japan, Turkey, Thailand will start conducting various tests and pilots on CBDCs, or digital currencies. So, Hock Lai, you've been in fintech for over 20 years. What do you think what's the significance of a CBDC, or a central bank digital currency? What should we pay attention to in 2022?
Yeah, I think, it is quite common knowledge. The benefit of CBDC is really about efficiency, about financial inclusion, especially in increasingly digitalized economy everywhere, accelerated by COVID-19. Those without access to electronic money, right, they might not be able to have access to digital forms of consumption, right, including ordering takeaway. Yeah, and also it's about lowering the cost, not just about printing and storage costs of physical currency, but also about cross-border transmission of money. So it's all about all this, but there is also the angle of geopolitical. There's the conspiracy theory that, for example, the Chinese yuan is really about to compete with the dollar dominance. My take on 2022, right, 4 points. I think, according to the latest Bank of International Settlement report, more than 80% of the central banks are already exploring CBDC. So last year we have Nigeria rolling out e-Naira. And I think digital yuan will be launched in the coming Winter Olympic in Beijing. I expect there will be more live roll-ups this year by a few more countries. Second point is that I think many would have thought that the direct competitor of CBDCs would be stablecoins. I think that it will be a world where both CBDCs and stablecoin will coexist. Especially if you look at a big country like US, right? I think they are at least 3 to 4 years behind in terms of developing their own CBDC. I think having strong stable coins that peg to US dollar makes sense to them, in fact. So I think it will be there is room for both CBDCs and stable coins to coexist. And the third thing is that I think this is the year whereby we will see more and more multi-CBDC collaboration. So basically, multi-CBDC means that more and more central banks will be collaborating with one another, perhaps coming up with some shared utility platform to allow each country's CBDC to easily transact with one another. That will be very much in line with lowering the cost of cross-border movement of money and indirectly improving financial inclusion. Last but not least, I have a different take on CBDs in terms of its impact on blockchain. I think it will actually be very positive because I think it will drive adoption towards asset-backed tokens. Those tokens that are backed by hard assets, including real estate, with the wide availability of CBDC, I think more people will move towards asset-backed tokens because currently a lot of these asset-backed tokens, they suffer from one downfall, which is the lack of secondary liquidity. But with more and more people with a CBDC, it makes a lot of sense in terms of having that full end-to-end life cycle from purchasing to settlement of asset-backed tokens. Yeah, so that's my take on CBDC. Thanks.
Thank you, Hock Lai. Esme, do you have any? What's your take on the significance of the central bank digital currency?
I think Hock Lai have covered it very well, so I'll just supplement by one point, and that is I believe that 2022 this year is going to be the banner year for CBDC, and so Hock Lai mentioned very well that we have the Winter Olympics, so China's RMB is going to be launched officially after all the pilot projects. And the other thing is, because I'm also a tech analyst, so I'm going to cover, so what is its implications on the private sector, since I think a lot of narrative has been focused on, what are the implications on CBDC as a tool for fiscal monetary policy implementation, and also in terms of tax revenue collection. But I also want to emphasize that for a lot of investors are asking what is the implications on private payment companies. And I would say that it's a positive because private sector and public sector is going to have an orchestrated push into CBDC, and that payment companies will have a very instrumental role in terms of bridging the digital CBDC opportunity and also bringing it to the mass public. So I think they're going to coexist like what Hock Lai mentioned. And that's pretty much my take on that. And that's supplementary to what was mentioned.
Perfect. Thank you, Esme. Flora, do you have anything else to add, or did they cover everything?
Yes, I actually am very quite agree with Mr. Lai, I just want to mention one point. And in last year, the international organizations like BRS, or G7 Group, and some central banks of many other countries, they are maintaining a very positive attitude towards CBDC, and they are promote to the research and development of central bank digital currencies. And in this, China moves very fast in the retail CBDC experiment. In China, we call it DCEP, like digital currency electronic payment. In this experiment, it already have for 140 million accounts and 1.5 million merchants who can support the DCEP. And we
Flora, you're cutting out.
Games several days later in Beijing. And besides that, China is promoting the test for CBDC payment bridge among several central banks. And I think this is the most important, and it will be the future, like for the cross-border payment issue. Yes.
Thank you, Flora. So the entire panel is in agreement that CBDCs are coming and they're here to stay. So moving on, 2021, we saw a shift in types of investments with the rise of meme stocks and meme coins, such as GameStop with its parabolic run, and also Dogecoin and Shiba Inu. So for a lot of people like, what is a meme? What is a meme coin or meme stock? What is a meme? Does anyone want to take a crack at that? Like, what makes them have these parabolic runs? Anyone want to take a stab at it? No? All right.
If no one is answering, I just give my take on the meme coins and meme stocks. I think all these are subculture, and two very important ingredients must be in place for a meme coin or a meme stock to have a parabolic growth in the prices. First and foremost, right, you must have a bull market. The second point is that you must have an influencer. So in the case of like Dogecoin, you have Elon Musk who has been like really giving very positive reviews about coin. So with these two elements add together, it resulted in a parabolic rise in the price. But once these two elements, either one of them is not around, then the price will also crash, which I think this year, I don't see a lot. The meme coin will be all the rage. Yeah, but having said that, this is a subculture. It happens in different subsectors. So in different countries, they might have different kind of meme coins at some point in time grow. But I would not take them seriously, even though recently, like Elon Musk mentioned that you can now start using Dogecoin to purchase Tesla merchandise. But I will not take this too seriously. Thanks.
Thank you. Flora, do you have anything to add? Do you think meme coins are a good investment, or do you think you shouldn't touch them, like Hock Lai said?
Yes, meme coins. I think everyone wants to know why meme coins. Yeah. Why? What is meme coins? With so many people are still confused. I think there are some common features about meme coins. The first is usually the issue size of the meme coins is very large and the unit price is very low. Means everyone can own one. Everyone are able to buy the meme coin. And the second, the token distribution of meme coin is emphasis fairness. Means the community is also is entitled to a high share, and conversely, the investor and the project teams, they have very low percentage of shares or none at all. So that means everyone has the same chance to own it. And the third, the pricing fluctuation is very large. So meme coin is a wonderful speculative asset. And the last, meme coins is usually useless, and many meme coins, they're born without specific goals or visible development plans. So it's very easy to copy. And so why people love meme coins? I think the first reason is that meme is very easy to accept. It's very simple and is generally very enjoyable. Everyone loves it. And easy to understand, and so it's very easy to gain public acceptance and spread with a very short time. So the second, I think, the meme coins, the fluctuation is very large. So it means you are able to get rich overnight. And the other, because of the low price of the meme coins, you can buy a lot of coins for a very small amount of money, which gives the newcomers, new investors, a sense of satisfaction and creates the illusion that the losses are also minimized. And the third, I think the meme coins, it represents the rise of the counter-elite culture. Whether it is in the government or corporations, the world has always been perceived as controlled by the elite. So, what if history can be made by the power of everyday citizen alone? So in the stock market, we know there are so many retail investors. They're organized by the WSB, beating Wall Street. The story just have played last year. And in the cryptocurrency market, the same thing can also happen. If everyday citizens are united, you buy $20, others buy 30 or 50, and no one sells. And together they would like to take the token's price to the moon. This idea, which sounds impractical or crazy, but it actually happens in real life and in crypto industry. So I think this may be the essential of the meme coin culture, I think. Yes. Thank you.
So do you think meme coins are good investments, or are they just for gambling?
more gambling than investment. Yeah,
makes sense. So the regulatory environment for cryptocurrency has changed significantly in the past, especially in the past year, as more and more government and regulatory bodies start taking crypto and the blockchain itself more seriously. For example, El Salvador made Bitcoin its legal tender. The first Bitcoin futures ETF was launched, and Coinbase went public. However, certain countries have also taken a more hostile or more strict approach towards crypto. So what do you guys think about the future regulatory environment will be like for cryptocurrency? Will it be more stricter than we've seen now? And is that good or bad for crypto, whether it's more strict or looser? Esme, would you like to start with that?
Oh yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. I'm all positive, and my base case is that regulation legitimizes digital assets, and when governments move on to regulate digital assets, that means they're giving the asset class a legitimacy, because in that way, that's going to pave the way for institutional adoption. And there's a certainty that regulations, so they always look at the rear view mirror, and regulators are always in catch-up mode. So that's the reason why you're seeing a lot of different piecemeal enforcement actions as opposed to a blanket regulation, which we all expect to see in 2022. And I guess for this exercise, so let's put our thinking hats on. So let's take, for example, we're a regulator and we're tasked with regulating digital assets. And the primary considerations would then be about keeping innovation and also talent within the border. So in the past year, you could see that there has been talent moving to Singapore, which is regarded to be more crypto-friendly. And also the second consideration that regulators have would be investor and also public protection. And the third, of course, it will be, tax revenue collection. And one downside that regulators are trying to avoid would be to avoid unintended consequences. So how I would summarize all that is regulating digital assets is very complicated, and we should give credits to the regulators. Well, if you think about it, so digital assets cut into different buckets. So for example, NFTs cut into IP law, and then we also see Metaverse. They will potentially cut into data privacy. So Web3 definitely cuts into data privacy. And right now, I think a lot of stakeholders in the digital asset ecosystem, including investors ourselves. So how we see is that regulators are doing well in keeping the public informed and also to increase transparency, because even if you look at like a close analogy, and that is the Federal Reserve guiding the public in terms of rate hikes, as long as the regulators do well in guiding the public, so that's when we know how to allocate our capital resources in order to drive innovation. And one example I like to give would be, if you look at earlier this month, so we see the HKMA giving a regulatory consultation, a public consultation about stablecoins. And last year, we see the FASP consultation. So these are all very good because from a lot of the stakeholders are here, they have been in closed-door meetings or in public meetings in which they're able to voice out what are the potential loopholes that they should plug, and also what would be the potential benefits. And that is all about, having an orchestrated approach in aligning the interests of a lot of stakeholders. So what I would say is that I think we are in very good stead. So the regulators are doing very well in terms of protecting the public and also the industry's long-term benefit. And this year, given that we see the SEC chairman, so he has a very strong background when it comes to digital assets and blockchain. So very likely we're going to see a regulatory framework for US, and that's going to pave the way for similar healthy and sound regulated frameworks in other countries. So I guess the short answer to my very long question is that I'm positive, and I think regulations would be positive for the sustainable development of the industry.
Thank you, Esme. That's very insightful. Hock Lai, Singapore has been known as one of the most crypto-friendly places in the world. So how do you feel about regulations?
My view about crypto regulation, especially across the world, is that I expect it to further tighten in 2022. as regulators understand more. But the level of tightening will differ across different jurisdictions because they are in the regulators are in a different state of maturity. Then I think, as we mentioned about stablecoins regulation, I think one of the key highlights this year will be more clarity in terms of stablecoin regulation because bank run is a real risk. And we don't have very good reputation from some of the stablecoin issuers. So I think the regulation in this aspect is timely. Coming back to Singapore, right? Last week, the MAS, the regulator, they just gave guidance to ban any crypto advertisement because the whole position is that crypto as an asset class is not suitable for retail investors. And then within the same day, Spain also released their regulation on crypto advertisement. Basically, all crypto advertisement will have to be reviewed and approved by the regulator. The following day, United Kingdom, they also came out with the response that they are going to regulate crypto advertisements as financial products a few months down the road, after having conducted the consultation period last year. So I think it will further tighten, and I think latest is that by next month, the Biden administration, basically the White House, will release the crypto regulatory framework. I think it will tighten again, but I think overall is positive because to me is that ultimately what investors want is regulatory clarity. Once there's regulatory clarity, it's easier for them to come into this particular market. Just to share something I think happened yesterday. Thailand also wanted to ban, just released the latest guideline to ban the use of crypto for payments. So you can see that now regulators are becoming more sophisticated and educated about crypto and recognize that crypto is a risky product. It's not something not suitable for everyone. So it's definitely investor or consumer protection is necessary, other than the usual concerns on money laundering and terrorist financing. So it's my view overall it will tighten, but there will be more clarity that will result in more institutions coming into the market. Thanks.
Thank you, Hock Lai. I definitely agree with you there that retail investors do need more protection in the cryptocurrency world. Flora, being part of Huobi, the tightening regulations will I assume affect you. So how do you feel about the oncoming tightening regulation Hock Lai and Esme Pau mentioned will happen? And do you think it's overall good for the industry?
First of all, we will embrace the regulation and in all of our business. And I think it is the more and more country to care about the crypto regulation is a very good start for the industry, and it will be healthier in the future. Yes.
Perfect.
And besides this, in our annual report, we have do some research about this regulation. And I would like to share this some of our research and some of the numbers with you guys. In our analysis in 2021, there are more than 40 countries have issued total about 151 regulatory measures and guidance for crypto industry, which have increased 75% in last year. So with the development of this crypto industry, the areas covered by the policy were also expanding. For example, not only for the exchange or the tax, there are also covered many new fields such as the DAO, the DeFi, and the stable currency. Yes, and in our annual report, we have categorized the regulations into 11 classes such as trading, taxation, and stablecoins mining. So, and in our analysis, we find that the crypto transactions and the crypto taxation were among the top three, gathering the highest level of concern. 41 policies is about crypto transactions, and 23 policies is about taxation. So this shows most countries they are actively looking to formulate regulatory framework for the crypto, with a focus of issuing regulatory guidance for cryptocurrency trading and its related business. And also taxation is very first thing they would like to push forward. So not only in US, the many countries show a very great interest in taxation, like in Japan, South Korea, Australia, Indonesia, and so on. So, and also there are so many countries, they are playing on these things. Yes.
Thank you, Flora.
So taxation, yes.
Apologies, we're running low on time, so thank you for your insight. Thank you for your insight. But we have two more. We have a topic and a half left to cover. So thank you. So moving on, 2021 was the first year NFTs blew up and became popular among speculators and firms as well. Nearing the end of 2021, the NFTs, the Metaverse, Facebook famously changed their name to Meta. So, but when I look online on social media, a lot of people don't understand NFTs. Like, what is an NFT? What makes it so popular? Why are pictures of monkeys selling for like hundreds of thousands of dollars? So, Flora, would you like to speak about NFTs? As it was in your report, so I know I looked at it. It was very good. So would you like to explain to us what is an NFT?
So besides the meme coin, the NFT is it will come to second. Then people would like to know, want to discover what is NFT is, why it's so popular. I think NFT is short for non-fungible token. That means the token is unique, and it can satisfy all requirements of digital assets property rights, which means it can specify the owner, and the content can be universal and be verified, and is unique, is specific, and the others, the FT token, it can be transferred and programmed. It is programmable. So with these properties, it can be ensure your property rights is being guaranteed, and beyond that, we can build a more efficient market on it. And the second, through the NFT, many famous IPs is in the first place accrue the value in the digital space. So NFT are so far the crypto primitive that are most compatible with the traditional world. And the last, I think, the NFT, it have social function, which means in the theory of Maslow theory, the needs can be divided to the human purpose into 5 categories. And when the lower need is met, the next need is a hierarchy to becomes the focus of attention. Indeed, the lower need is met for the big names of crypto, however, not the high ones. So esteem and self-actualization. Yes. Yes. I think the three parts may be the most important thing that can make NFTs so popular around the world.
Thank you, Flora. Hock Lai, do you think NFTs and the metaverse are those developments? Are they the future? How do you think the metaverse will play out in 2022? What can we expect? Your mic's muted.
If you look at the bull run of the crypto market in 2021, it is very much driven by the adoption of DeFi, decentralized finance, NFT, and blockchain gaming. This is very different from the bull run during 2017 and 18, which is very much built on nothing much. So and if you project further, right, Metaverse is basically, to me, DeFi plus NFT plus GameFi plus virtual reality technology. So I think NFT is absolutely an essential element for Metaverse. As you rightly pointed out, big tech companies like Facebook, Microsoft are investing significant amount of money into Metaverse. For example, Facebook, they stated for the first year they're going to invest like $10 billion recruiting 5,000 people. Microsoft recently just announced a $69 billion acquisition of Activision, one of the biggest gaming company. So you can see that in the Metaverse, the element of gamification is absolutely essential. So all these big tech players are positioning themselves for this. And that what it will mean is that the Metaverse will actually be realized earlier. It will bring forward the Metaverse earlier by a few years because of the tremendous amount of money being poured into the R&D now. To me, Metaverse is at least 3 years away. The headsets has to come down significantly in terms of pricing. Oculus headset is about renminbi about 2005. Yeah, it has to come down significantly, and also it has to be smaller size, more portable. So I think eventually Metaverse is going to be important, and blockchain basically provides that economics layer for the Metaverse. And Metaverse is something that will cut across many industries, whether it's entertainment, gaming, social media. So I think this is an area no one can ignore. Yeah, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Hock Lai. So the Metaverse is here to stay, and it's coming sooner than people would think. So Esme, are NFTs and Metaverse, are they good investments? Do you think they're here to stay? Do you think they have a future here in 2022?
Right. The future is definitely there. So I would say that for NFTs, there's a big FOMO sentiment around, and I would always advise investors to be cautious. And Metaverse, I would see it as much more use case. And also with regards to what Hock Lai mentioned and what Flora mentioned about a lot of institutions coming in. So I think that's definitely going to be a huge trend that is going to move the needle in 2022 and beyond. And the second thing is about technology. And the third thing is about communities. So we all heard Web3 being the buzzword around a lot of decentralized projects. So we're going to see a lot of real communities backing sustainable NFT projects. And but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a natural selection happening this year in which some of the quote unquote lemon project NFTs would be weeded out, and there will be longevity around the NFT with strong communities. And the other thing is, I'll just touch very briefly in terms of the long-term trend. So I would say that I'm aligned with Hock Lai and also Flora with regards to the breadth of metaverses, and also that touching into a lot of different industries. And the second thing is about interestingly about the interoperability of metaverses. So right now the tech is still being built up, but then there are companies who are already exploring and also having interoperable metaverses in which I, as a player, can bring my in-game asset across to different metaverses. So I think that'll be a very interesting use cases. And that's also going to bolster the notion of ownership with regards to NFTs. And the third thing, again, is about regulations, because IP law in itself is very territorial in nature. So, for example, you have trademark in which is protected in the UK, but it's not protected in the States. So, right now, current regulations are insufficient, and we're going to see a change that is much needed this year or next year. And there'll be very interesting litigation as more and more of the deep-pocketed institutions come in and they will fight for some IP rights. So that's something that I expect to see this year.
Perfect. Thank you, Esme. So the Metaverse is here to stay, and more funds are starting to invest into it. So really quickly, what are you guys most excited for in 2022 regarding crypto, NFTs, or blockchain? Just real quickly, like what are you guys most bullish on? What should people look out for? Anyone can go first, whoever has something on mind.
I think this year probably we'll see regulated DeFi to happen. This is an area that has attracted a lot of institutional interest, but they don't know how to get in until there's clarity on how it can be regulated. So I see that happening this year. And the other thing I expect more will be really about asset tokenization. This is really about the convergence of the crypto and the real world economy, driven by the wider adoption of CBDC. So I will see more asset tokenization projects happening this year. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Hock Lai. Esme, Flora, what are you guys looking forward to the most in 2022 regarding crypto, NFTs, blockchain? What are you guys most excited for about?
Actually, talking about the future in 2022. So in our annual report, we have give 10 predictions in our reports. So the first one is we think that, as we have mentioned before in the first question.
Sorry, real quick. We don't have much time, so choose your top two. Your two favorite ones.
Okay, top two. Maybe to top three.
Sure.
The first thing, I think the DAO will be major on the on-chain governance forum. So maybe you guys may pay some attention to the DAO industry. Yes, pay attention to the DAO. And the second is, I think the DeFi will embark to the next level, like DeFi 2. Yes, it will cause an explosion of on-chain proprietary contracts and the forward contract. And the last, I think the insurance market for crypto may be thrive in the next year. So if you want to know more about the details and the full 10 predictions, please read our reports. And you can follow our Twitter or Medium to download our full reports.
I can recommend that report. I read it and it's very good. Explains things very well. Esme, what are you most excited about?
I'll just keep it in one sentence. So I expect there will be a battle of visions between Web 2 and Web 3, since their ideology is very different in the sense that Web 2 is all about centralized data and centralized content. So monetization is done by the platforms, but at the same time, so Web 3 is about giving power to the creators. So on the one hand, we have decentralized metaverses. So that's, for example, the sandbox. And then we also have centralized metaverses like the Meta. So I think this year we're going to see a battle between the two ideologies, and they're going to, because of their competition, so they're going to drive a lot of innovation, which is going to benefit the end users, i.e. us.
Thank you, Esme. So DeFi, insurance, Web 2 versus Web 3, that's what you'll look out for in 2022. So I believe that brings us near the end of our conference. I'd like to, on behalf of FX168 and Huobi Research, I'd like to thank Flora, Hock Lai, and Esme for coming out and taking time out of their day to come out and speak to us about these exciting topics coming up. And also, Huobi Research is looking to form cooperation with more financial institutions and projects. Parties are welcome to contact Huobi Research on their Twitter at Huobi_research. And we'll put that on the screen later as well. And again, thank you Hock Lai, Esme, and Flora for coming out.